to get to this part, and obviously we
Yeah,
will go back to your other fights, but this
yeah,
is the part that everybody wants to know in Mexico. Your
yep,
experience against Juan Manuel Marquez, that
yeah,
war.
yeah,
So let's talk
yeah,
about that. What I believe is
yeah.
one of the most emotional and unforgettable nights in the
Yeah,
recent boxing history. You know, your
yeah,
fight against Marquez. You drop him,
yeah.
bro. And I say this from the heart, okay? That's the hardest knockdown that Marquez ever suffered. What do you remember about that moment? Because I was like,
I,
holy shit, I didn't expect it. I was like, you jump out of my seat, like I had almost had a heart attack at that
yeah,
moment when you
yeah,
drop him.
yeah. I know. Like, well, I know. I'd say it's the second hardest because the hardest one was the one against Pacquiao, right? Hang on.
No, but
It's
but
not
but but
other
Marquez
way around.
going
Yeah, no,
going
good. Yeah,
down.
yeah. My
Yeah,
bad. Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, no, no, I agree. No, I agree. But like I wasn't really there. Like, like looking back in hindsight, because of how I reacted after that fight, I was never going to be the fighter that I should have been against Marquez, but should have, could have, would have, but didn't. My brother just died like
Yeah.
2 weeks before the fight, and they put a media ban on. Here's the stuff that you guys probably don't know, but like when that happened, when I dropped Marquez, the comment Jim Lampley and who's the other guy? Was it Jim Lampley and someone else in there saying,
Larry
and he's
Merchant.
thinking of his brother. He's thinking of his brother. Like I would just jump
yeah,
on him
yeah.
straight away and I'd just go bop, 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 place him in the right spot, those shots, and I'd fake something and come with something else. But I hesitated for the first time in my life. And then, by the time I started swinging a couple, Marcus already figured it all out. And he started, because everyone knows that I used to come in with the big roundhouse ones, right? And Marcus is so smart. He lowered his center of gravity and he started doing this. he started, he's
Yeah.
so smart, and at this and often, just back active again. I touched base with him it'd been 2 years ago. I touched base with him because I got his phone number from someone, and sometimes I will message. His English is not the best, but he can still message and
Yeah.
talk a little bit. Yeah, it's good, but you know what? I was always after that. I was always gonna my career, my personal life was always gonna down spiral because my brother was my rock, and we were very close, and that's for me is this that hurt me a lot and took me a long time up until just recent times just to really pull it together. No matter how much I won or how much money or whatever it was I achieved, I was always going to crash burn, and I may not even be alive today. That's how hectic things got. Like Hector Camacho, mate. Look, that like it's just hectic. Just the whole boxing life, how it went, and yeah, yeah. So
Well,
proud and happy to be here today. Yeah,
I imagine that probably was one of the most emotional fights for you coming
yeah,
off of that, right? And
yeah,
then getting so close because as Chacal said, I don't think anybody ever dropped Marcus the way you dropped him,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like that was
yeah,
probably the closest he was to getting knocked out
yeah,
because
yeah,
you hit him hard.
yeah.
And that's why like Chacal was like almost had a heart attack because he thought you were gonna
Yeah,
knock him
yeah,
out, right?
I mean,
yeah,
we love you and respect you, but Marcus was our hero at that moment. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
for us,
yeah.
we're like, holy shit, what's
Oh,
going on?
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah,
the way he stand up, you can tell
yeah,
Marcus was hurt because he
yeah,
took time to stand up. He was
yeah,
hurt on that one,
yeah,
like
yeah,
never before, even with Pacquiao.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, let me ask you something, Michael. Was that your toughest fight, or was there
Oh,
any?
the toughest fight for me. They were all tough. Like all of them were tough because like we trained real hard. Hey, like Brendan and I, we trained hard, and that's all we knew. We trained hard, and that's just that was the hard fight there. So for me, the fights weren't the issue. You know, I'd get more nervous about going to training. To be honest, it's the yeah, you become at one with the pain and all that stuff. It's the crowds and all that stuff, the fights. It's all in the training. So they were all tough. It didn't make a difference to me who I fought. I was prepared to fight anybody. It didn't matter for me.
So
But yeah, like I mean,
Michael,
technically wise, technically you know, all that stuff and skill. Like, yeah, Marquez is right up there. He was like considered one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm just honored to have even shared a ring with the guy. How great's that? It's just I'm wrapped. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the all-time greats in Mexico. So yeah, you're right. I mean, you were facing definitely a legend in the make. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, I think at that moment too, would you consider that maybe that grief that gave you the edge to drop Marquez also made you vulnerable later on the
Yeah.
fight? That he didn't
Oh,
let you
yeah,
focus to
yeah. So,
maybe finish the
yeah,
job?
yeah. Because he hit me in the Adam's apple, hit in the throat, and I was backpedaling, just getting my breath back. I couldn't breathe for a good,
Yeah.
10 seconds. That's a long time when you're in the middle of it. And then once I started exchanging, the referee stopped the fight. Look,
Yeah.
it could have went either which way because Marquez just comes home stronger, right? He just comes home stronger and stronger and stronger. But it just, yeah,
It was too much, too
it was
much
too
stuff
much.
in
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
right?
it
Yeah.
was too much. Yeah, like to look, and then when you go on from that fight to the next fight, like I was already destroyed. It's just then the other Mexicans fighter, like Roberto Guerrero, just ready to cash in on my scalp. Then, it's just 'cause
Yeah.
I was still grabbing it, and that's the fight where it feels all wrong, baby.
Yeah.
It was never right. And then when you see Katsidis walking out with a hat on, with like that, I'm not. It's just like, yeah,
The Spartan hand.
nah. I didn't even walk out the way I would. I walked out like with a dinky dye Aussie hat on with the corkscrews hanging off the end, and I didn't even care. And I even said, "What are you looking at?" before the fight started to Guerrero. I wasn't even serious about the stuff, It was like it felt all wrong, baby. It was all wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I mean,
Yeah.
the reason what I'm asking you that about the Marquez fight is because
Yeah.
obviously we know that that was not your first loss. So you already
Yeah.
experiment the loss. So it's not the fact that you are for the first time hurt or you're
Yeah.
facing, the defeat, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
takes you out of your focus. So now going back to that.